Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I hear music in the background. I thought it got cut off.
Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Ron Watson. I'm with Positive Vibe and K9Disc.com. Welcome to Disc Dog Radio. On the line with me tonight, I have 7-time world finalist Bryan Lamky and 5-time world finalist and 1-time world champ Ron Ellis. And hey guys, it's a real pleasure to have you on tonight.
Pleasure to be here.
All right. So we started the show already, and we weren't quite ready to go. Ron, I was asking you about
my kids. I got a couple of teenagers. That's probably one of the reasons I've not been too active in K9 Disc last few years. But my kids love throwing. I throw with them, and I still do dog sports. But I do a little bit of fly ball, and I play with my dogs still in the backyard at the park sometimes.
Cool. Well, we had Lou Mack on the show a few weeks ago, and he was saying that you were thinking about getting out and competing again. Is that true?
Lou told you that?
Yeah.
Man, I hadn't talked to him since State Fair last September, I guess it was.
Oh, yeah?
And I must have said something to him about missing the game and missing the people and, you know, missing that camaraderie and the special feelings you get whenever you're hitting your game and all. So, yeah, I talk about it a lot, and, I haven't put a lot of action behind it yet, but been doing a lot more recently, and it looks like maybe it's going to happen for me some.
That's great, man. And Bryan, you recently had a hiatus from the game for a couple of years, right?
Yeah. After losing Tatiana, I didn't have another dog in the background waiting or anything like that, and it took a while for me to find a partner.
Yeah, and now you got a couple of dogs that are really coming along for you, Adam and Madigan, right?
Yeah, and one, they're both totally different dogs, so, it's kind of funny. Adam brought me back into it because it's so fun, but now Madigan's got all the talent, got a lot of talent, I should say, and with her, when I play with her, it's not play, it's more work, and I understand what the people with the Border Collies are talking about, we got to give this dog a job.
Heck yeah. She is. She's definitely tenacious. And I think it's really interesting that you're having to juggle that nice slow game that you have with Adam, and that haphazard crazy game that Madigan gives you. That's got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, it boils down to is like with Adam, I'm kind of teaching him, and with Madigan, she's teaching me.
Yeah.
I got a lot to learn with her.
Yeah, well, you've really come a long way. For those of you guys who don't know Bryan, probably some of you guys don't know who he is. He's one of my mentors and Apryl's mentors, and Ron, you were too. But Bryan's been working a double dog routine with Madigan and Adam that was just really, really awesome to watch, and we might just throw that right into the itinerary this evening. There was some interest about that on K9Disc.com, which we talked about a little bit, but we didn't get to really hash it out. I really liked watching you play with your dogs like that, man. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. One of the things I've realized, I started trying to throw in some multiples with the two of them at the same time, but I got them used to really, Adam doing his trick and then Madigan doing her trick, then Adam doing his trick and Madigan doing her trick. And then when I tried to give, Adam a series of 3, Madigan was jumping it, so it was like something I probably should have started from the beginning of doing more multiples with one dog before giving the other dog their turn. But so it's one of those things that I got to work through now. That it's kind of a different level of the game that I was trying to take it to. But, yeah, it's just... And it all started pretty much by accident by just having them out there, and playing with them both at the same time.
Yeah, trying to keep one of them calm while the other one's going. And you found an interesting little dynamic between them, right? As long as, was it Madigan is out there, you can throw to Adam? Is that right?
No, I'd say I got to get Adam away from Madigan, because if Adam isn't gone and away, he'll block whatever I'm trying to do with Madigan. So as long as I can sit there and make sure he gets his turn, he goes and gets out of the way, then I can do a little bit with her. Or if I make sure and set him up and sit him down and say stay and put him in a sit-stay, then he's at first he was really bad with that. But he'll wait knowing that he's got his turn coming up. But just like I said, that if I want to get into a multiple with him or with Madigan, as soon as he sees the first throw, he breaks his stay and comes running over like, okay, it's my turn.
Yeah, and it's hard to get that patience and drive when you have a couple of dogs, that you're juggling. And that little game you played out here a few weeks ago was really juggling. It was really neat. You were tossing your dog pretty far out there, and you were doing a little something with the dog that was close to you. Then the one dog came in, and you were tossing the disc out for that one. And then the chasing when they'd come in and chase each other in.
Right.
Super cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Like I said, it was just messing around with the dogs. Nothing really worked out with them. It's just anytime I do that stuff, it's like, okay, what can we do now?
Yep. Well, we get some video of that. Totally got to get some video of that. I've been doing a little bit of it, and I started out well, and I had some real problems, and I kind of put it on the back burner for a while.
I think that's the next step for a lot of people. I remember Paul West was one of the first ones that I seen doing multiple dogs at like the 98 IDC, and he had Shadow and what was his other dog's name?
Sport,
yeah. It was Sport was kind of a younger dog, and the two of them, just at the hotel, it wasn't anything like at the competition, and I was just I was blown away by the way that the three of them worked together and stuff, and I guess that flashed back into my mind when I started playing with Adam and Madigan and just had both of them off their leash, and it's like, okay, you both want to do something? Okay, here, let's try this stuff. And yeah, so and then I know there's a lot of others. Herb Hennigan has been doing multiple dogs for a while, and you got John Masita, but yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, you got different personalities of the dogs that you get to work with and showcase different attributes from each of them.
Yeah.
Or all of them. I mean, in your case, hell, what do you got? You could get a shitload of them going on.
Oh, who knows how many we got, man.
Yeah.
All depends on the day.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Ron, have you done any multiple dog stuff?
Multiple dogs, really not my bag. I've tried that before, but all I have is Border Collies, and they tend to want to go for the same disc at the same time. They're just real competitive guys, and I don't know. I can't do it with the dogs I have right now.
Yeah.
They'll kill each other to get the same disc. So.
I know all about that. We have a couple that I wouldn't put out on the same field together for sure.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed doing some of that, and I find that it really helps to work it in different environments with different toys and even treats. If you have a good foundation of everyone taking their turn while you're working with treats, then we can do it with a low value toy like maybe a tennis ball. I know that probably blows your mind, Ron, but sometimes a tennis ball is a low-value toy. And, work my way up to a tug, and then I finally get to the disc. I kind of like that progression that gives me the ability to break the dogs in and, get success at an easier, more attainable level. But I just figured I'd toss that out there because I think we'll hop off the double dog stuff. In a few minutes, we're going to open up the phones. If you guys want to call in, feel free. The number is 646-716-7271. You're listening to Disc Dog Radio, blogtalkradio.com/K9Disc. And we're on the phone with Ron Ellis and Bryan Lamky, a couple of Apryl and I's. Well, Bryan, you were a mentor. Ron, we didn't get to hang out too much, but I sure looked up to you as a player. We've come a long ways in since you've known us. me and my dogs and the way that I interact with my dogs. And, I sure can't wait to hook up with you and hope that you get back in the game.
Well, I've heard a lot of good things about what you're doing, and I just haven't had the opportunity to see you, either on video or otherwise. So if you're on YouTube, maybe I'll catch you there, huh?
Oh, I'll send you some links, man. We're all over the place as far as that stuff, but I don't get on YouTube very often. I'll definitely drop some links on you. Maybe I'll drop some during the show here. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, Ron, you were the founder of the very first Disc Dog Club, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I'm in the process of trying to talk Bryan into running some play days on the east side of the state. We have some nice players on the east side of the state that are pretty gung-ho, and they don't have anyone to kind of hook up with and play. And, we all know for sure that that's an important part of learning how to throw plastic to your dogs. But could you tell us a little bit about the founding of the Dallas Dog and Disc Club? That was in the mid-'80s, right?
Sure was. It was on the heels of I think it was the 1986 Ashley Whippet Regional that they held in Dallas. I was just real excited. Had my first dog, my pound puppy Maggie, and she was learning to do some stuff. And, it's just real exciting to see Bill Murphy and Bouncing Boo and Pepper Nichols and Chino and some of the other guys, really competing at a high level. And I'm like, wow, you got to put some time into this. It's really cool to hang out with people and see what they do. But, you like to hang out with those people. But, Pepper would go home to Wichita Falls and Bill would go home to Lubbock, and then we'd see them again on a World Finals video. And, I found myself really wanting a little bit more than just going to the backyard to the park with my own dogs and family. So I approached the lady named Pam Osborne. She was a close friend of Herb Lander, and she worked in the Dallas Parks Department. And I asked her, because she had put on several Dallas locals over the years, if she could give me a few addresses so I could contact some people. And, of course, she said she needed to ask permission to do that because, Herb Lander didn't, want to just start passing people's names and addresses around. So, after a few conversations, Herb gave his blessing. I got a list of addresses, and I put postage stamps on just a simple newsletter, sent it out saying, hey, we're going to meet, we're going to have a play day thing, and we're just going to play with our dogs and, share that enjoyment with each other. And we had pretty good turnout, 5, 6, 7 people first time we met as a group. And we called it a club, even though it was not really structured, an organizational thing. And for several years, it remained very loose-knit, very unstructured. Things weren't chaos. They were very simple and easy to maintain. And, we didn't have club officers and all that. We just got together. I guess later in the late 90s is when things, all of the new clubs were coming up, and they all had super organizations, and it was another way of doing things. And I guess the Dallas Dog and Disc Club was ready to break out and do the super organization thing, and I helped them get started with it, and then I just kind of phased out. It's not that it wasn't enjoyable to me or anything. It was strange to me. So, I just kind of went to my own thing.
Yeah, and it was actually a shame the way that went down. But I don't want to really rehash any bad stuff. I mean, geez Louise, there's a lot of stuff that the people on the phone right now could talk about, and I'd rather not.
Yeah, we don't need to go there.
But that club was really what a place to learn how to play, man.
Yeah, we had some really talented people come up through that club, and a lot of it was them putting their own creativity and energies into their animals. And, it was just as simple as getting together, having a small audience, and being creative. Yeah.
Yeah, and, that's really what Apryl and I kind of have that built in with the number of dogs we have, and we have 2 different training styles. But, we have a couple of students right now that are taking some classes with us that are really starting to play well. And, we're really feeding off that. And I really miss that, hanging out with the Dallas Dog and Disc Club. Shoot, every loco was like a World Finals. You competed against a bunch of badass players.
I know.
And, those kinds of things I think are important. And that's one of the reasons why I was trying to get Bryan to take something and get it working on the east side of the state, because we have some nice up-and-coming young players on the east side of the state over here, and they just don't have that creative stuff to feed from. You know what I mean, Bryan?
Yeah. Well, with me, it's always been I'm not that organized or anything like that, but if someone wants to get together and just play, if I got the time, if they give me a call a couple days beforehand or something like that, I'm always like, hey, which, I mean, Ron, I'm sure you remember when you came into town and you were like, hey, I'm calling Bryan. You called me up and you said, hey, I'm in town for a little while. I'm staying at a friend's house that's kind of close by. I'd like to get together with you. You had Mo, I had Tatiana, and we went up and we jammed.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it was as easy as that. It wasn't like, anybody ever wants it. And anybody that I ever talk to about the game, if I give them my number or say, hey, if you're look me up, give me a call if you want to talk to me, if you want to get together, I have no problem with it and stuff. And so, yeah, let's get together and play. There's one condition. It's got to be freestyle.
Don't bring that toss and fetch stuff, right?
No toss and fetch, yeah. You can do that at home by yourself,
Hey, you know what you do to solve that, man? When you get a new player, you just give them 2 discs right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't even tell them they're playing freestyle yet.
Ever since I started Canine Disc, even when I played discs with humans, bringing out one Frisbee, I'm like, what's this? Come on, where's 5, 10? Let's get a crap load of Frisbees out here and start flinging them around.
Yeah.
You have a lot more fun.
Yeah, well, I totally agree. And, I tend to think that the club structure, I think it is a lot more fun when it was like the roots of the Dallas Dog and Disc Club, as opposed to the high organizational structure and everything. Those groups of people that get together to do things that they like to do are always better off than, officers and things like that. And, I didn't know that history about the Dallas Dog and Disc Club, Ron.
Well, there are different ways of doing things. Some clubs have a lot of success and have a lot of enjoyment with a lot of structure and organization, and probably function best that way. But then there may be other groups who function best in a more simplistic form. And let's talk about Bryan's situation. He would like people to get together and just jam, but he doesn't want to put time into organizing things, setting up meetings, talking about the future, putting contests together, all of that. And I don't blame him. I just want to play with my dog. Is kind of a mantra. Yeah, it's kind of a mantra I used to have. But, there's a big difference between having to put a newsletter together and post it, mail it every month, and having email now at the tips of your fingers. You send out a mass email to several people in your area, see who shows up, and you don't worry about it after that. You just have fun, and next time you want to do it, you do the same thing. That's all you have to do, but at least you're getting some people involved. You give them an environment for getting better and enjoying themselves.
That's real important. Yeah.
What was that, Bryan?
Yeah, I think that's real important. I mean, just that in itself, he hit it on the head. I am the type that just wants to get out there and jam, and I'm just that way compared to all the organizing, thinking about where it's going to go. And like you say, when you get together with a group of people like that and you're just jamming and all of a sudden somebody sees you do a trick and it's like, wow, if you did this, you could take that this way and get a fresh idea just from it and everything, and them giving you their fresh ideas, yeah. That's what it's really about, man.
Yeah, well, let's see if we can get some action on this. Let's see if we can get we have the Michigan Disc Dog mailing list. We could probably mail too, but it'd be kind of nice to have it like real personal and even less structured than that. Maybe we can get a list that we can get into our hands and your hands, Bryan, from people listening to the show and word of mouth, and maybe we can get something where we can get a hold of people who are interested in jamming.
Cool. I'm all for it. You know me.
What's that?
I'm all for it. I'm all for jamming.
All right, man.
Although I've got to let Adam rest for 8 weeks. That's a one downer. So actually, it's more like I'm all for working with Matt again.
Yeah. Adam's a little gimpy right now, and there was no. It just kind of happened, right?
Yeah. It's just something that just out took a wrong turn or something like that, and he's pulling up lame, and so I've just got to give him some rest.
Yeah, and gave him 2 weeks rest? Is that right, or 4?
I gave him 4, and then I started doing some light stuff just the last 2 days, and all of a sudden, just yesterday, gave him just a simple, real fluff of a throw. Didn't even have to jump for it or anything, but I think it was in his turn when he spun around to start the chase that maybe it might have happened. I don't know, but yeah, so it's just like, okay, now I'm giving him 8 weeks. I'm going to sit there and just give him 8 weeks, and I'm hoping it's
close. We talked the other day to set up this call, Bryan, and I was so close to telling you to wait a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wish I would have. My rule is pretty much 6 weeks for anything that's a repetitive soft tissue thing, like any kind of.
Well, that's just it. This hasn't been repetitive. This is the first time that it ever happened, and I let him go for 4 weeks, and I watched, and I mean, this dog, keep him down. It's like I'm watching him jump down my flight of steps and turning around and jumping right back, and I'm thinking, well, he's looking pretty good. Nothing's really, and then something like this happens. So yeah.
And well, mine is 6 weeks, and I wish I would have given you my opinion on that. Maybe we could have held that.
To be honest with you, I was gonna take that 6 weeks and stuff, but I really wanted to go to the AWI thing in Chicago on September 2nd, and I just thought that only that short amount of time would not be enough, and I thought trying little things and see how we went from there, and like I said, it was just a little thing. I wasn't asking much from him, and that's like, all right, there it is. That's enough. I'm not even going to go any further than this, I mean, he put weight back on it pretty quickly and everything, so it's like, I know it's not just like totally blown or anything like that, but yeah, it's not worth taking the risk.
Try and find a place where you can swim him in. Maybe I'll get a hold of Nadja. She's got a really nice set of physical therapy that keeps the dog moving but doesn't, and that might be a nice thing for you to do with him, because I know he's a pretty big dog. He can get out of whack pretty quick, I bet, in terms of shape.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we got a call from area code 832. You're on the air with Ron Ellis and Bryan Lamky.
Hey, good evening, guys. Mark McNett with the Houston Club down here.
Hey, how's it going, Mark?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
All right.
Good. I was listening to the conversation and wanted to tell Bryan to, when I joined the Houston Club back in 2000, and I think a lot of clubs, they go through ups and downs, and they'll be a lot of high interest, and then it trails off a little bit and comes back. And I think I caught the club in kind of a low spot. And when they voted me in as the president, the members that were there wanted somebody to kind of have a little fire in the belly and kind of get things rolling as far as maybe putting on events and demonstrations and the competitions, but also just trying to put fun back into it. You guys know Mark Jennings and Penny Mahon and some of the other crew that are extremely competitive, but there's lots of folks that join that they're just looking for fun and like you talk about, just kick off the shoes and go play, but they're interested in learning and how to communicate with their dog and trying to get the most out of both of them. And so that's kind of my philosophy, is that the more the merrier to the party, as the old saying goes. But you try to have everyone have as much exposure to everyone that's coming in. And at times we just had a lot of new members join, so I'm starting up a rookie league, and we'll be meeting for about 6 or 7 weeks on Tuesday evenings, and it's strictly for folks that have just joined that really need to learn the very bare bone basics of just how to hold the Frisbee, how to throw it, the concepts, and then maybe week 2, then we'll introduce the dog and start working on some basic tricks. But they're all excited, and my number one goal is having a good time. I think if you guys that know me, I compete and I get serious at times, but in the end, it's just out there hanging out with everyone, having a good time.
Yeah. Before we get out of hand here, Bryan, don't freak out. I'm not trying to be the head of the Michigan Disc Dog Club or anything. I just want you to Oh
no, hey, you know what? In the Michigan Disc Dog Club, I met Apryl Hargraves at a demo that I was doing, and she did a great job of starting the Michigan Disc Dog Club. And I wish that when she started it, the biggest problem that happened with me and when she started it is that, Tatiana, I was just getting out of canine Frisbee. I just lost my canine Frisbee dog, and that was like my departure from of competing and being involved. I didn't have another dog. I didn't, who am I? Just some guy showing up and saying, yeah, I had this great dog that I used to play with, so you should listen to me. It was kind of that, and I wish I could have been more involved when the Michigan Disc Dog Club was, going on, and because she did in Apryl, you too, you did a really good job with everybody. They had the membership going up and everything, and it was a really good atmosphere of people just liking to get together and play.
Yeah. Well,
I know you're not trying to make me the president of the Michigan Disc Dog Club now, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
That ain't happening.
But be careful when they vote you in. You're in the back getting a beer, and all of a sudden these hands are up, and you're like, "Excuse me, what just happened?"
Yeah, everybody's patting you on the back, saying
That's
congratulations.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I just want you to help some of those players on the east side of the state. I know that they're real close to coming off as pretty serious competitors, and to have someone like right there in their backyard.
Give them my number.
You know what? I'll post it on Canine Disc. How's that?
No, just.
I'm gonna give your number out on the air. Go right ahead, Bryan. Only disc doggers are gonna listen to it anyway. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. Go ahead and give my number. This only disc doggers are. This is on the web, man. You never know who's listening and stuff. You know somebody that wants to in the area that wants to play some Frisbee, man. Just serious. Give them my number, and if they're that serious about playing, they will give me a call.
You're right.
You're right, man.
Yep.
And anyone who needs to get hold of Bryan, you can contact me. I'll hook you up with his number. Hey, guys, I'm going to bust out a little bit of music for a second, just so we can take out a second break, and then we'll come right back, okay?
All right.
Okay.
All right, this is Dog Radio. Phone number is 646-716-7271. And we're going to take just about a 30-second break.
So, Ron, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, so you've been playing with your kids, eh?
Oh, yeah, my kids are in high school.
Yeah, I know.
But, they like to throw the disc around, but they got their own things they do, and, we're parents who are tied up in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to slice yourself even thinner and thinner and thinner, man. I know how that is.
Sure.
Well, not the parent part, but I'm just so busy, man. Still don't know the parent part. Me and Heidi haven't all of a sudden started multiplying here.
Oh, boy. Well, maybe.
Tell Cindy I said hi, too, and after we're done here, too.
Okay, I'll do that.
So.
All right. It looks as if our music didn't go, so that was a nice little brief aside from Bryan. And sorry, I was going to tell you it was going to go live, but you guys were just chatting, and that's really nice to hear on the radio. That doesn't happen too often. Now, you guys go back how far? When did you guys meet?
93.
93?
Weren't you at the first?
Your first year?
Yeah, you were there as a staff.
I may have been.
As I recall, you were there as staff. If not 93, it had to have been 94.
Maybe so. Yeah, my memory is waning. I'm probably older than you, My memory's going. I have good memories that I can definitely remember, but, dates and things like that kind of slip me.
Yeah. You might have even just been there as a spectator, not even as a staff member. I think you and Cindy didn't you guys travel quite often to the World Final?
We did that a few times.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you were one of the first ones that I met. As I recall, it was really bizarre. I remember going to the World Finals and people sitting there saying, "Oh, that's that flying Doberman." I'm like, "Flying Doberman? Where?" They're pointing to Tatiana and stuff. Could have swore it was one. You were one of the ones that were saying something like that.
I didn't say flying Doberman. I knew better than that.
Okay.
She's a sweet little girl.
Yeah, she was.
Yes.
So, hey, we have a call from area code 417. Go ahead. You're on the air with Ron and Bryan.
Hey, guys. Tom Clements here out of Missouri. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. How's it going,
Thanks, sir.
Hey, Bryan. Bryan, obviously, I know you. We go back a little ways. But, Ron, I don't think we've ever met. And so I just wanted a little opportunity, since I saw you were on the radio here or the Internet, to introduce myself. And just wanted to say hey and thank you guys both for helping pave the way for all the pretty much newbies out here.
Sure. It's been a pleasure. I know you by name, Tom. You're the TNT guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. We got a little bit of a reputation. I don't know whether bad or good, but
Sir Tom.
Pardon me?
Officer Tom. That means you have a good reputation.
Yeah. Well, very cool. But anyways, I didn't want to tie up the line or anything, but I was just killing a little time checking the internet, and I remembered that this was going on, so I thought I'd drop in and just again, thank you guys for what you've done to the sport. It's all been awesome, and you paved the way for knuckleheads like myself. Just wanted to thank you guys publicly.
I appreciate that, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. And hey, pass on the passion. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm a little bit over the top sometimes, as Ron can attest. But Ron and I are pretty much in the same boat. Yeah, but we are trying to pass it on. And
I think you're doing a good job too. I know you're out there and doing a good job. I mean, and that's all. That's all anybody's really got to do is a lot of people talk about the competition, and it's not really necessarily all about competition. It's really about the passion of the learning. And Ron, we were going to talk about, like, is it an art form or is it a sport and stuff like that. And honestly, I've always kind of thought of this more as a tool for us, a tool for our dogs to help us communicate with them. I mean, passing on the passion, that one thing of people understanding that they'll be able to communicate with their dogs in a language they'll understand, and they'll be able to learn a lot about their dogs from doing this simple activity. And that's the biggest thing for me from this whole activity that I've taken away.
Yeah, that's awesome, Bryan. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's funny you guys said that. It's in the beginning. I don't know if you guys were in the same way I was, but in the beginning it was all about, I got this awesome dog, and I'm starting to get a little bit of, attention and stuff, and we start winning contests and stuff, and obviously the head gets a little big and all that stuff, but then after a while you all kind of, sit back and take a big look at the picture and say, you know what, if it wasn't for this dog, we wouldn't be here. And so we need to focus a little bit more on the dog than ourselves and stuff. And that's hopefully what I'm doing now. And obviously I know you guys, and I know that's what you're all about. So
you're on the right track there, Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get off the line. I know there's other people probably calling in and stuff, and just very cool to hear you two on this site, and it's neat to finally meet you there, Ron.
Yeah, good to hear from you. Hopefully, I'll meet you soon.
Yeah, no kidding. We're I'm doing the show business thing now, pretty much, and trying to spread the word about adopting dogs and all that, and I'm up to 21 adopted dogs. I just adopted. 2 weeks ago, half Great Pyrenees, half standard poodle.
Wow.
A very bizarre looking dog.
That sounds like a wild mix. That sounds like one wild mix.
Sure, nice dog.
Have you ever seen the movie The Never-Ending Story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that, what I think it's called, Valcor, the love dragon. Exactly. That's exactly what this dog looks like.
Awesome, man.
All right, you guys, you all take care, and hope to talk to you all soon.
All right, Tom. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling, man. Well, that was really cool, and he mentioned something that we haven't talked about, and that's the contributions you guys have given to the sport as far as what is now performed. Bryan, I think you were one of the first people that I saw that actually flowed. Your whole game was about flow. There were big tricks. Your dog was always moving, and there was always something going on, and you were doing it with 5 discs. And that's the thing I think that you kind of pushed on the sport, at least in my generation of disc doggers. And Ron, you were responsible, at least partially. Rumor has it, for the advent of the vault. Can you talk a little bit about how the vault came about? Your understanding of how it developed back in the early 90s?
Well, they were already doing something called a catapult, which was the dog jumping off the thigh, the thigh held in the air, and usually you would see a take, and hardly ever did you see separation between the hand and the disc. And, of course, I would do that, too. I'd watch Bill Murphy and Bouncing Boo. He had Boo going off his leg. He had Boo going over his back and stuff. And they were all hand takes. And I'm like, wow, it's all about the thrown disc. If there's a way that you can throw the disc while doing this, then, it'll be scored much better. I just thought it'll be better to score. So, I kind of started working on it and surprised the heck out of me when Maggie almost jumped over the fence off the first time she caught the disc going off my back. I'd never seen it done before, a thrown disc, dog going over or off the back. So I worked really hard because I thought, there are some dangers there. If you're not careful, you send the dog too high vertically, and, that's not natural for them to go so high, on just a normal, natural jump. So I tried to make it a little more horizontal. And I think I succeeded, to make it horizontal. I try not to be the one that made my dog go highest, but rather, Maggie would go, horizontal really well and also get some height at the same time. So it was rather a spectacular thing. And we started doing that August of 1986, believe it or not. And kind of first unveiled it at a play day, and there were a lot of new people there at one of our first play days, and they're like, whoa, and they never came back. And so I toned it down and decided not to be such a showboat, because you can't intimidate some people. And, just kind of kept it to myself and trained and put it in my routine and started competing the following year because, of course, my season was over. But I guess you've heard the story from Chuck Middleton that, a picture of Maggie and me appeared in January 1987 newsletter of the Canine Disc Masters, who were kind of competing with Ashley Whippet Invitational at the time for competitions, putting on regionals and their own version of a world final. And I was in and out.
Mike Miller was involved in that organization, right?
Who?
Mike Miller from Southern California, I believe so. He runs Canine Air Corps.
Yeah, Mike Miller was. I think Bill Camp was. I think Ed Jakubowski was for just a short time. But, you know, I was in and out of that thing real fast. I, you know, had a lot of friends with Irv and Peter and those guys, you know, growing friendships. And, you know, I realized that, you know, that's where the show was at the time. So that's where I wanted to put my allegiance, I guess, for lack of a better word. But, you know, that picture came out in a newsletter, and then I saw at the 1987 World Finals a guy named Todd Tanner, I think his name, a dog named Flying Ace, who was an Aussie. He did kind of a side-to-side vault, and I'm wondering where he got that. The guy just happened to be from Southern California, so I'm wondering if he may have seen the picture or whatever. I don't know if he came up with it himself or not. But, you know, that's all I know, and then, you know, the rest is kind of history because everybody started doing it when they saw it. And some people doing it well, some people taking it too far, but hopefully everybody with good intentions.
Yeah, well, you know, something that I took Mo really big, you know that. As a matter of fact, the people in Texas are the only people that saw us, like, really play. Like as far as what I consider, you know, pretty good Mo moves and such. You know, but one of the things that I think is really important in terms of vaulting is, you know, higher isn't necessarily worse. You know, you mentioned a lot about the horizontal aspect, and I think that tends to be the key, you know, is to get that dog moving laterally so it doesn't drop straight down. You know, would you agree with that, Ron?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You know, if you get the dog going horizontal, it's like a natural jump for them. As long as they're not going so high, you know, because you see a dog jump, you know, pretty far when they're you know, crossing a creek or jumping out into the water or whatever. You know, they can really go far. They can thrust themselves forward. You know, border collies, Aussies, retrievers, whatever kind of dog you have. You know, a lot of dogs like to jump. Some dogs don't necessarily like to jump, but, you know, usually they adopt that behavior when they're playing Frisbee, when they don't like to jump, but then you see them, you know, jump well in other situations. But usually, you know, dogs aren't going to just jump straight up in the air and come straight down. It's not natural for them to do that. But I know there are some breeds who
mean they should.
Yeah, I know there are some breeds who do. I got a Jack Russell mix that does, and I wish he wouldn't. But you know, I just think it's just common sense to me. You know, if I want to keep my dogs safe, I'll do what I can to, you know, lessen any kind of danger or stress on my dog. So I prefer to make it two-dimensional instead of one-dimensional.
Yeah, well, you know, the other thing about the horizontal movement on a vault is that the dog is able to run out of it. You know, you mentioned a natural leap, and it really does resemble a natural leap in that the dog is carrying distance with his speed, and when he lands on the front feet, he lands very, very quickly on the front feet, absorbs a little bit, gets the rear legs through, and runs out of it. And, you know, if that happens, you know, you want to vault your dog 100 feet in the air, and he runs out of it smoothly, go ahead and do it, you know. But as soon as that distance gets more vertical, and as soon as the dog starts to land all four legs at once without carrying, you can really see the impact of height, just unbelievably, you know. You know, and there were some people in Dallas that took their dogs too high and not far enough, and I think you kind of know what I'm talking about there, Ron.
Sure. You know, I've done it before. And I've done it innocently before, and you know, I got educated real quick, and you know, I'm pretty strong in my beliefs about it now, and you know, I have a lot of good friends in the sport who take their dogs high, and they know how I feel about it, but we're still good friends. You know, they have their thing they need to do, and I need to do mine, and I'm not saying that those people put their dog in danger because you know their dog's still walking around, you know, healthy. It's just unfortunate from time to time you do see a dog injured on those kinds of dramatically vertical vaults.
Well,
a thing with that too, though, is when people are seeing things like that, they just think they can, this person and that dog might be all right with it, and they're the exception and not the rule. And then somebody says, "Oh, I've seen that person do it, so I'm going to try it." And just like they say, on all sorts of things, don't try this at home. These are professionals that have, if you're going to be doing things like that with your dog, you should be really up there and not just all of a sudden, boom. I've always felt that it's more in the form, and kind of just like with gymnastics, Ron, like you're saying, run through it. I kind of refer to it as stick the landing. Do they get not coming to a stop in the landing, but do they land with grace? Do they have form in the air? Are their legs flailing around? Like you said, Ron, it's not natural for them. It is natural for them to jump up that, to jump off of something, but it's not natural for them to land from that high. They'll do it. They want that Frisbee. It's natural for them to have that desire to make that kill, and any of us can get them to do it. It's the landing part that's really not natural, and for some dogs it can be, and for others it just, that they're like, hey, I'm not going for that one or hey, I'm going for that one, I don't care what happens to me. And then they make the catch, and they come down, and it's like, crash. But they get up, oh, hey, I got my Frisbee, I'm okay. And it's like, well, but that wasn't safe. But some people will just sit there and think, well, the dog got up and walked away from it, though.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Ron.
I do have very strong opinions about it, and it's not just, everybody do your own thing, let's all be friends with me. I do have very strong opinions. If I'm in a situation where I'm judging somebody and I see an abuse, I'm going to penalize. I'm going to do it, without question and without regret, and it's for the sake of that animal.
Yeah.
There are people who have
win. If they didn't win, it wouldn't happen.
Right.
And that's the thing I think that happened when you left the game, Ron, and when I was coming into the game, is that at that point in time there was very little emphasis placed upon the safety of the animals in terms of who was winning. We saw people winning with, I was beaten in a contest, and on the landing, the dude who beat me was never shown. His dog never landed. His dog never once landed on television, and that says something about what he was doing. And when people are doing those things, they shouldn't be winning. Then
everybody just copies what is winning.
Yeah, and then it's okay. Not only is it okay, it's desirable. It's what works. And
only the media grabs hold of that too, and they say these are the most spectacular people, and their dogs, and those are the ones they put on TV. Those are the ones that they ask to do shows and all, and it's unfortunate because that's not the greatest representation of the sport. There are exceptions in the sense that there are people who are doing it for themselves and not for their dogs. And unfortunately, they get rewarded for it. And I'm not talking about scoring. I'm talking about the other opportunities they get.
Yeah.
And, that's what a lot of people want. I know people who act, they say the right thing, but then they act like they don't really give a hoot about their dogs, the way that they play with them, the way that they treat them, the way that they, they don't love on them. They don't, give them a pet or hug them when they put them away after a routine or whatever. That's kind of heartbreaking to me because Maggie took me a lot of places, and I loved her so much. And Bryan, it broke my heart when I lost her, and I know how you feel because she did so much for me. And people got to feel that way about their dogs.
It's not just yeah.
I'll get off my soapbox.
No, it's all right. No, you're right. And Tom called earlier and thanked us for what we've done, and I think you would, we both are kind of like really appreciate what Irv has done for us, really, and that's who we had. I remember Irv every year at the World Finals just always stressing, don't let this go to your head. remember your dog, you know, every year, and I wish I could remember one word of Russian that Irv taught me, but because Tatiana, the name was Russian, every year Irv would teach me a new Russian word, you know, real quick. Oh, this one, and I swear to God, I can't remember one word of it. So,
Brian. Well, you know, we're starting to get off. We had this really, really nice segue into disc placement when we were talking about the dog leaping and how they leap naturally. And Ron, you wrote an article back in the late 90s on the disc dog about using a zigzag for leaping. And you know, a couple of years ago, I was at a national finals event, the USDDN national finals, and Chuck Middleton was there, and I think he was running Spinner, Penny Mahan's dog. And I was standing about 100 yards away, and I was watching him, and that dog looked so unbelievable. Chuck had Spinner out there just cranking, full speed, big air, hitting the brakes, reversing. He was sending her high and low, and you know, I'm pretty sure that came out of one of your leaping workouts, right, Ron?
No, I don't. I wouldn't give me credit for that. You know, Chuck it has a lot to do with your throwing, really, and the way you throw for the dog that you're playing with. And Chuck is a very good disc handler, and he understands that you've got to give the dog a good look at the disc when you throw it, and you've got to be able to hover that disc out there so the dog has an opportunity to see it and to, you know, take action. So, you know, the zigzags, this placement, you know, that thought is all about, you know, the dog getting a good look at the disc, and you're placing it in such a way, you know the dog well enough, you know what he can catch, and you're planning it, you're timing it right, and it comes through practice. But it also comes through realizing, you know, what the dog can and can't do.
Yeah, totally. You know, one of the things that I think is really important about the zigzag, you mentioned a couple of things that are absolutely right out of my spiel when it comes to disc placement and zigzags. I like to flank my dog and bring him across on the disc so he intercepts it. If he intercepts a disc, he's got to make a plan. He can't just run and wait for it to come down. He's got to make a plan and say, there's my target, bang, I'm on it. And, you know, that article that you wrote, you know, it really talks about that. I really think the interception and the look at the disc, you talk about a good look at the disc, for that dog to see the horizon, the disc, the obstacles in the way, the speed of the disc, know how fast he's going. That's all the information he has on an interception. When the dog is simply chasing a disc, he's looking up at it. All he sees is the sky. He's got no information. And, you know, as far as like the zigzag for leaping, I tend to think that it's about making a plan and about having all the information. And, you know, I've wanted to talk to you about this for a while. But, you know, I'll just, what do you think about that?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, you know, the dog has to think a little bit more when there's a little more to it than just a straight, simple throw away from you. You know, you throw it across, you know, from one, you know, you're crossing his vision from side to side, and he reacts better. The dog's going to have a little more, you know, kick, a little more energy to get after the disc, assuming the dog's in good condition. But, yeah, I'm right there with you. I was thinking there's another byproduct to the zigzag, you know, the back and forth action of that set of tricks, and that's that you have the opportunity to put a lot of good grips and releases out there, and I guess satisfy some of the judging criteria when it comes to people wanting to see variety in your throws, because you can do a lot back and forth, you know, opposite spins and all. Of course, that's getting off of what you were talking about, but I just wanted to bring that up. Zigzagging is a great opportunity to improve your, you know, the kinds of throws you are able to put out.
Yeah, and you know, when you make a throw on a zigzag, you got to make the throw. You know, a lot of times we see the creative release on the out throw, 1, 2, 3, 4 flips, and then the creative release on the out throw, and it's kind of a throwaway.
Yeah.
And I've done that a lot. I've actually made a pretty nice career on that, to have a real dynamic out throw. It impresses a lot of people. Over the last several years, though, I've been trying to make those throws to a spot, and to that spot that's going to make my dog look good. And I'm starting to be able to do that now, and that's really cool. But you mentioned making those throws. You've got to make, when you're on a zigzag, you've got to make a good throw. It's not just a throwaway. That's really cool. And I think that's something that's kind of missing in the game. I like watching you and Donna work, Ron, because of your breakthrough. When I was right when you were running route, back in the late 90s, you were making a throw at him. That was he was charging on the retrieve. And, you'd make a throw 15 yards, 5 feet in the air. I could right there for him so we could snatch it as he's coming in. Donna Shea does that throw as well. Talk a little bit about how you set that up, how that works, and what your thoughts are really was.
Well, I think it's one of those good hovering throws that elicits a good leap from a good leaping dog. And Rat is pretty good. He's almost 9 now. I don't know if he can leap the way he did when he was younger. But, he leapt pretty well for his size. And, it goes back to giving the dog a good look at the disc. You throw it with such timing that he has time to see what you're doing, and he can adjust on his recall. He can jump for the disc. You got to make sure it's slanted toward him so he has a chance to actually catch it. A lot of people, when they throw the disc out away from him, it angles upward as it flies away. And, dog can't catch that. So you have to keep it flat. You have to practice that hover, getting air into the disc. And it's not really an air bounce, it's just a good spin on the disc. So that it just holds steady in the air. The dog will see it on.
Sits right out there on the table, just begging for the dog to get up and I've been working that with a couple of our dogs, maybe during that, but a little bit of success with it, but I'm running into the problem where I'm learning how to get no wing up, right? I'm presenting a high rim towards my dog, and it's really hard to catch. Even if they make a nice leap, even if they get their teeth on it, the angle of attack is wrong. Hit it. So, here in the road, I'm going to go out and try and throw flat floaters. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Out there and
practice, man. You got to be a master of the disc, really. To your dog justice. The dogs do so much for us. It doesn't hurt us. Things ourselves to make sure we can throw it and the way we're asking.
Yeah. Well, listen, we got about 45 seconds left on live time. Ron, Bryan, conversation for a few minutes. Everybody else can be out of here in about 30 seconds or so. And if you want to hear the rest of the conversation, you can download the MP3. You can do that right on the site, blogtalkradio.com. And guess what? Area code 513. If you're on the air, if you give me 1 second, hopefully I'll get this before the end of the show. We got about 10 seconds left. But thanks a lot for listening, guys. Download the rest of the show so you can hear what Ron, Bryan, myself, and Apryl and John Casey had to say. We'll talk to you later. Download the show. All right. So,
hey, what's up, guys? It is John Casey. I just wanted to call in and say hi. I just got on the internet. I just got back to my hotel room and I saw Bryan on there, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to 2 legends that were both heroes of mine. I saw Ron Ellis back in 1990 with my finals in Washington, D.C., And you want to talk about disc placement and really how to showcase a dog's natural ability. Ron, you are the best, and Maggie was just, she was the best. I mean, she was such a cool dog to watch, and it was wild because everybody else comes out with, the blaring pop music of the day or whatever, and you came out with just this really kind of, I don't know how to describe the music. I mean, I'm sure you know what it was, but it just was perfect for what you were doing. And Maggie just seemed to float in the air, and the way you set this frisbee, just like you were describing in that last segment, was and I mean that's truly I think what any of the top players try to do these days. But I just wanted to call and say hey Bryan, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going? Talk about Ron was talking about how I was one of the first people that he seen that really had the flow. One of the first people that I seen that had the talking stuff when he came out. I mean, I just don't
it's funny because I think the three of us more than anything realize that if you have a great dog, then you can put that frisbee in a place to really let that dog do what it loves to do. You figured it out, and no matter what the throw is, no matter what I mean, Ron, I think hands down, you've mastered putting that frisbee. This is Ron, R-Dub. You've mastered putting that frisbee, any way you throw it. And I mean, and I think that's the key to where, the level of competition is these days. I mean, it's not just, being able to put that frisbee in a position for the dog to really showcase its ability, but to do it, from any different kind of throw you can possibly imagine. But, that's why guys like me just retire to do shows, and, when the general public is still impressed by, a dog that can run out and poop on command. I'm here in Springfield, Illinois. I'm starting the Illinois State Fair tomorrow with Tracy Custer, one of the fine young players of today. That's for darn sure.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. Tracy's really come along the last couple of years, man. She's one of my favorite players right now. That's competing. It must be fun to do shows with her. I bet she does a real good job as well.
She does. She's so wrapped up in competition, and she's always out practicing, and I mean, it's just, it really puts me to shame. It's such a pleasure to see somebody who still has that fire, still has that fever, and I mean, that's really when you watch the top competitors, and truly, how many of you guys, including myself, do you still drive down the road and hear a song play and think of Ricky Lewis just all the time? And I mean, and it could be like flashback style, where it was, when I don't know. I mean, there's so many good stories, but I saw what you guys were, that you two were on, Ron and Bryan, and when you were talking about doing that zigzag, I mean, Ron was doing that back in 1990. That's exactly what, if I recall, Ron, your opening with Maggie was a zigzag, wasn't it? I mean, wasn't it like back and forth, and you were doing a thumb throw, and then like an overhead wrist flip, and then behind the back, I think you finished it with, and it was so smooth, and the way Maggie floated, I mean, that was, I could be mistaken. This is straight from memory of watching, 1990. I mean, how I didn't have a video camera. There certainly wasn't any YouTube back then.
Pretty good. I appreciate it. I've actually been a member for 8 days.
Yeah, it was, but, I mean, it's fun to see, I think, isn't it, where the sport is now, and how wide open it is, and God, there's so many good players from all over the world. I mean, I never really would have imagined it. It always seemed like, every once in a while you got together with your friends, maybe 2-3 times a year, and play frisbee with the dogs, and geez, who would have thought?
Well, it keeps getting better. Although, man, you guys are all here. I came up late 90s. By that time, things had gotten pretty formulaic. Flip tosses were, 18-inch throws that you threw to your dog. You guys started playing, man. I mean, a flip tosser. 8 feet in the air. And it dropped. It was just a really different game back then. There were so many more frisbee. You guys all lived that. And I've had the opportunity to see some videos and stuff, but I think that's the big difference between the game. I think there's a lot of really awesome stuff going on right now, and I think people are taking the game to a higher level. But I think that there's a lot of room for us to go back to some roots where you guys started playing when freestyle, like mid-80s, when freestyle right up in big games, right? I think there's really
we were doing a little freestyle earlier, but a lot of cash over the leg and things. I think the people who really brought it were Bill Murphy, Little Stroller, those guys. He were doing a lot of different things people weren't really thinking about. But they were my creative examples.
Hey, Ron, did you ever see Ashley Whippet play in person?
In person?
Yeah.
I saw her on Wide World Sports when I was
I've never seen. I've seen some video, and I just was wondering if you had ever seen her or seen him. Sorry.
In person, I've got a copy of the loading keeping it private. Yeah, really awesome stuff.
Yeah, I think the last time I was at Worley's house, he tied me down in a chair and made me watch that.
I watched over 9 hours straight. Tom Worley, if you're listening, you owe me some DVDs or something. I can't find them on YouTube.
Tom
really having part of the band. I enjoyed watching because I heard of this. I mean, part of the way just
or something like that. But yeah, you posted introduction of the dog.
The best part of that video was the end when it slow down a little bit, slow-mo, and the music that play with it. Incredible lead from
to hang out with Alex last year. We went out and drank some beers with him, and we were talking, old school stuff. And God, he's so much fun to hang out with and talk about frisbee. He just talks about how the guy was last night, and goes, there's a lot of guys that beat him, his dog didn't even go off the ground, and it's such a different scale of everything, I've seen him.
he is. He's the best, man. Yeah, I hung out with Alex at the Great Outdoor 2 years ago when it was in Wisconsin. And I think we went to a bar, and I hung out with him and John Matita for like 3 hours at this bar. I don't think we talked about frisbee golf. And, you know, I tell you, Phil, it was the greatest compliment anyone had ever given me. My very first profile, I had that, man. I'm just so happy to be here. This is the greatest. Yes, man. Alex and I Casey, you guys, good job out there. You were the only one who looked like you were having fun out there. That's cool. That's cool. Like, hell yes, man. I mean, and I truly was, but dying of death inside. But I mean, you know, and that's, I mean, all you guys. That's how, you know, they make it look. When you watch somebody have a jamming routine, that person's having fun out there. And I mean, it's their dog. I mean, and you see it in their dog. I heard a little bit of, I think Ron Ellis, I think he touched on, when you see somebody coming off the field and they hug their dog and they're like, yeah, we nailed that. Or, you know, telling the dog good job or whatever. You see who the people are that are bonded with their dogs. I mean, it's just so rare to see somebody in the top level of frisbee competition have a robot for a dog. I mean, it just doesn't happen. I mean, I don't maybe I haven't seen it enough, but I mean, the people that are really top at the game now seem to really be connected with their dogs. And that's, you know, I mean, I think that's a good testament to where the sport really is right now. I mean,
I haven't been to any of the big contests since I last judged USBN event, I think 4 years ago. But it's really great to hear that's the atmosphere and the attitude now that competitors have. It's a great witness to people.
We were trying to, Tracy and I were trying to think of who like the top 10 people, the top 10 competitors, men, top 5 men, top 5 women in the sport right now. Who do you think would be, you know, in that group? And I mean, really, it's a solid group. You know, when you look at, you know, it would be a fun debate sometime on K9 Disc. You know, who you think right now? And I don't know, man. Maybe someday somebody will have the, you know, their whole put together a competition for, you know, and you're visiting who are, you know, I love, you know, in style, you know, and see what the debate for, but you know, it's, you know, I know. We've talked about this in the past, and I just think, you know, it just would be, it would be something really cool to see, you know, whoever the national champion is, you know, from each organization. I mean, and put them out there, you know, world champion, whatever you want to call them, and have just come in. I don't know what the format would be. It has to be come up with, you know. I don't think you could use any of the formats right now.
I think that would be really cool, man. But you know, I don't think that's much for it. I don't know. I like when people come together, like the regional rumble idea, to bring teams in from different regions that are teams. That each comes in as a team. You know, Don Shea, Danny Venegas, and Autumn Trainer come in as a team against you know, John Casey, Apryl, Ron Watson, and Tony Horace, and Tracy Cutt. You know, when you start to put everyone like next to people as a team, I think you know, I think that's a special kind of contest. You know, the last
I like just individual, and now you're a team, and all of that whole region is pulling for each other instead of. When you're competing against others, and just like even if you know you're saying, oh God, you somewhat good,
there with him.
You're hoping that the person out there doesn't do better than you.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, if these are all your team members, now you're sitting there really sitting there trying to say, yeah, come on, let's go. That's a great idea, right?
Yeah, well, John and I have talked about it on and hopefully we get in a position to kind of make it happen. I think it's a really cool idea. And it just kind of goes towards the general atmosphere out there, Ron, right now is it's really productive, man. People are very they're very cordial. Of course, there are cliques and they're doing their own thing, but it's not nearly as let's just say dark as it was when you left the game in the late '90s, man.
Well, and I think for me, the first time that I actually, at a contest, Ron, I had you took me off to the side and started throwing with me, and you were judging, and I was a pretty new player at that time, and you took the time to be like, hey, do that, this is how this throw works. I'd asked you how you did that, and you took the time and started showing me that kind of stuff, and sure enough, out came Melissa, and then Donna Shea came out, and we were all throwing together. And that was the first time I, had that kind of feedback from players that, that I really had looked up to. And now it's like you see that all the time at every contest you go to. Everybody's out there playing together. And, I think that's what's really cool about how it is nowadays.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, of course, there's still idiots and there's still, personal differences with people and this and that. Not saying it's some kind of magical dream or anything, but I definitely see a difference from when I started and when you were playing, Ron. And I really hope that you get to come out and be a part of that because I think you'll really enjoy it, man.
Yeah, well, I hope to. Worley was telling me that they're trying to have a UFO finals down here in Texas. This fall. They're going to do their UFO finals in Texas this fall, and they're looking at Allen, which is a suburb of Dallas, real close to me.
Yeah.
So if it comes, I'll be there watching, if nothing else. Of course, I can't participate in the finals if I don't qualify for one, but I'll certainly be there. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people I want to meet.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see you get started playing again because I think you were a really special player, man, and I think that you have a lot of things that you could impart to people that are really interested in learning. I think it might be the greatest single difference between now and when you were playing is that there's a large group of people who are interested in learning how to do better.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was necessarily the way things were back in the late '90s. There's some other things at play.
Yeah,
so,
status quo was a big deal back then, and I don't know what it was. I think there was just a creativity lull, and people were just trying to learn what the best things were, what everybody else was doing, trying to build their arsenal based on what all the big tricks were at the time. And I just think people ran a little bit dry on creativity, and that's what people need to do. I used to sit late at night and watch videos and think not how I could do that trick, but, how I could one-up, how I could do that, how I could do something better than that. And it wasn't a super competitive thing. It was my dog's special. She makes me look good. I bet you I can make her look good if I did my part. And so, I used to put my brain to all kinds of stuff. I tried so many things that I never showed anybody because they were just outrageous, But nothing dangerous, just weird. And
yeah, I got a few of those too, man. And you go and break those out every once in a while when you're around people. They're like, "What the hell is that?" And it's so funny because it's something that you did as like not necessarily a joke, but it was never anything serious. And then someone else actually gets a chance to see it and goes, "Hey, show me that."
I could only imagine the things that you come up with, Ron, that we've never seen before.
You don't want to imagine. It might hurt.
Jeez.
Yeah. Hey, do they have geriatric divisions?
It doesn't matter, Ron, because the dog's doing all the running anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. It's the dog.
Yeah, you're not out. No, you're not getting like a free pass. You got to play.
I got to work, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, we have one more topic that I actually had on the agenda that I'd like to talk about just for a couple minutes, and it's just a conversation that Apryl and I had a few days ago, and we were talking about whether or not playing Frisbee with your dog is a sport or a performance art. Bryan, what do you think?
Tool.
A tool.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's an art. I think it's for a human. It's the one thing that I found that I could put my creativity to, and I think that's what Ron was kind of saying too. Is back then we were trying to be creative, not competitive. It was like we were trying to create something. Somebody would have a trick, and how can I take that trick, what they did, and maybe make that, tweak it a little bit, and be a little bit creative, and doing something a little bit different. And I think, I mean, it's a sport when you start competing, obviously, but but it's an art form when you're creating freestyle. So, but it's also a tool for all of these things. It's a tool. Canine Frisbee is a tool for the promoters, for the organizers. It's a tool for the dog to teach us humans how to understand them. It's a tool for us to get out of our dogs what we want from them. I mean, so I say it's a tool.
Okay. Hey, John, what do you think, man?
Well, it's funny because Tracy and I were just having this discussion on various sports today. And, the three criteria that I think anything to be a sport, there has to be some level of skill, some level of athleticism, and some form of competition. And, I mean, if you're just asking for those three criteria, I mean, obviously, I think it's a sport. I mean, but, when you take it outside of the sport and everyone injects their own style into every freestyle routine or every dog's, ability, and once you inject your own style into something, then, the argument definitely can be made that it's a performance art. But, to me, it can be both. But it's just, I definitely think it would be a sport to me before it would be performance art.
John, it sounds like you think it's a tool too.
Well, I mean, it is
if it's
for
both. If it's both a sport and a performance art, the third choice is C, both above, which equals tool.
Well.
Oh, Bryan.
Bryan, who's your favorite rock group?
Yeah, tool. Yeah.
Okay, hey, what do you think? Performance art or sport?
You talking to me?
Yep.
Well, I'm going to be a little different, believe it or not. I talk a lot about creativity, and of course, creativity enters into all of the fine arts. But, whereas I see that there's a lot of the aspects that John's talking about and that Bryan's talking about, and it really is a tool, functions as a tool in a great way, and all the characteristics of a true sport are there. I really think it is an art form, and it's a performance that you're putting out there for people, and you're enjoying it at the same time. I have a little anecdote for you. Those of you who remember a great distance runner from back in the early 70s named Steve Prefontaine. Anybody know that name?
Yeah.
He was America's greatest distance runner, and he was awesome. And he was known as somebody who would give it all up and not hold back. He would collapse on the track if he had to, but he never did for some reason. And he was asked by his coach, what he was trying to prove by being, such a monster on the track. Was it winning all that important to him? And he's like, no. He said, well, don't you race to win? And he made him define what racing was for him. And, he won a lot of stuff as a collegian and then, afterwards. But he said that a race is a work of art because he puts every bit of himself into it. And I think if we have to watch, our balances in life and all of that. But when we play disc with our dog, if we put into them what we are feeling and thinking that this could be, and if we want to derive the pleasure that we want to derive from it, and if we want other people to get a lot of satisfaction about viewing what we do, it's definitely a performance, and we can pride ourselves in putting something together on a, symbolic canvas for people to appreciate.
Yeah, I think I'm probably closest to you, Ron, in those three explanations. And John, I think I was about exactly in your position not too long ago, as far as focusing on sport. But I do think that there's so much of us that we pour into that game. When you do something special with your dog when you're playing Frisbee, I think it's more than sport, and I think it's really special, and I tend to think that it's an art form as well. I'll let Apryl get the last word here, and we'll say goodbye to everyone and call it a night. Apryl, what do you think? Performance art or sport?
I think it's definitely a performance art. And Bryan, all artists have tools.
Yeah.
Well, so the canine I personally do take it as a I feel it's a performance art myself, but in the whole, canine Frisbee, I would say, for the general public, is a tool. And they should use this tool to their advantage instead of looking at it as a sport. But yeah, for myself, it's the brush that it's the one thing that I found to bring out the creativity in my soul.
Yeah.
Right.
You're absolutely right, though, that it is a tool. There's so many dogs out there that are spastic and they dig and they chew and they this and they that. And if they could run around for 5 minutes thinking and moving like a chicken with their head cut off trying to get that piece of plastic, holy moly, they'd sleep all night.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a tool, man. It's a great tool to help.
Hey, I got another one. Heard another one. Hey, guys, it was great talking to you.
Yeah, and listen, Bryan, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us and taking time. I know you got to get up early in the morning, and it was awesome. A lot of fun talking to you, and we'll see if we can get you that email list so you can get some people out at Creek with you.
Cool. Good night, Ron. Good night, John.
All right,
Take care,
guys.
bro. Take care,
Good night.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
All right,
John.
So long, John. Good to hear
Have a
from
good
you.
one.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot, man, for calling. And I hope you had a good time. I hope it got your creative juices going. I want to get a chance to hang out with you out there. Some event. We're going to be coming west sometime soon, hopefully. So, give some thought to throwing the plastic. It's a new game. It's a lot of fun, and I'd sure like to see you playing. I think you could help a lot of people.
Well, I appreciate that, Ron. Good talking with you guys.
Yeah, it was great talking to you, Ron.
Yeah, Apryl, good to hear from you.
Yeah, you too.
Maybe we'll catch up sometime at something real soon, huh?
Yeah, definitely. So are you still playing a bunch of fly ball?
Yeah, doing fly ball with Top Dog. Not as much as I used to, though.
Uh-huh.
But just recently I've really got the desire to get back into the Frisbee sport because that's what I grew up on with dogs, and that's what I want to do. So,
and sometimes it's hard to deal with a team.
Yeah. Oh well, that's another story altogether.
My mom plays on a team, and she keeps bugging me. You need to come in, and you guys got all those great dogs, and come join our team. And I was like, no, thanks, Mom.
I got a really fast fly ball dog. I got one of those Badger dogs.
Oh, you do?
You know who the Badger puppies are?
Yeah,
Those really fast fly ball dogs.
Uh-huh.
I got one out of Ink's sister, Wicked. His name
Cool.
is Gunner. His name is Gunner, and he's all fly ball. I mean, he's a landlubber. He catches the disc like crazy, but he doesn't. When he jumps, he goes straight up, like he stands on his hind legs to catch. I don't like that, so I'm not encouraging him to do much with it. Just toss fetch for him. But I got a couple of young dogs. His daughter and a puppy from her and Rowdy. So I got a couple of projects. They're 4 and 2, and I told Cindy they're 4 and 2.
Okay.
She's 4 and the puppy's 2. But I told Cindy, my first Frisbee dog, Maggie, was a Humane Society puppy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my next dog will be an adopted dog. I told her I'm not buying dogs for sport anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to be rescuing some dogs and giving them a great life.
We got a guy here, Miss P, and he's a big strapping border collie, about 50-plus pounds. He goes 5 feet in the air, man. Just like he's unbelievable. He doesn't fit in real well with our pack. He's a real hard cow dog, so he's kind of problematic with our soft little herding dogs.
Right.
We're trying to find a home for him. We got this new guy, Kiva, from the pound just a few weeks ago, man, and holy moly, he's out of control. Awesome little dog. There are just so many of them. So many of them that do what we want them to do. Yeah. That are just sitting in there waiting for someone to go get them.
Okay. Well, is this an advertisement?
No. Well, if anyone wants a dog that takes this out of there at 6 feet, pieces available. But no, I think it's just a nice word for rescue, man. If you want a dog that can jam and is turnkey, just take your time and find yourself a nice rescue. You'll get a great dog.
I'm sure I will. And I will. It's going to take some time.
And enough to take your time too, which is the hardest thing.
Yeah, I live in a town that has a limit on the number of dogs you can have, and I didn't know that when I moved here. So I got 8 dogs, and they only allow 4. So I have to be careful with the number of dogs I have. Thank goodness they live inside, and we drive out of town to play with them.
Yeah. That's hard sometimes, huh?
It is. That's all right. We do it. Do what we need to do.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I hear you on that one.
Yeah, and it forces you to get creative, which isn't a bad thing either.
That's true. Creativity rules.
Yeah. Well, listen, Ron, so cool to talk to you. Thanks again for taking the time, and hopefully Apryl and I get a chance to run into you soon. Okay.
Okay. You guys take care. Thanks a lot.
You too. Take care,
right,
and we'll send you some links to check out some of our videos.
Sounds good.
Appreciate that. Awesome, Ron. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.